Let's make your photos look more professional in Lightroom. Now, these 5 steps that I'm going to mention in this video, you can actually use them in both Lightroom Mobile and your Lightroom desktop app. So without wasting any more time, let's dive right into it. Number 1, use the linear gradient tool instead of the vignetting slider. Let me show you guys what I mean. Most of the time, you don't actually require vignetting across the entire image equally. But if you do use the highlight priority slider or the vignetting slider under the effects panel, it will actually produce a vignette across the image, darkening the portions that you actually don't need darkening of. Instead, I would suggest to use the linear gradient tool. Let me show you how to use it. Go up to the masking tool option right here and then select linear gradient. And once you have the linear gradient selected, pull down from the portion where you actually need the vignetting from, and then drag down the exposure slightly and also the highlights and some of the whites. And do the same on the other corner of the image as well. Create a new mask, go down to the linear gradient and then drag it down and do the same. Exposure, highlights, and then the whites. In that way, you can actually control the amount of vignetting from the corners of the image that you actually need to pull focus from. Basically, the masking tool should be your most important tool that you use in your editing arsenal, because that masking tool can actually help you produce professional looking images and make you stand out from the rest. And it's not just about separating subject from the background using the masking tool, but you can actually use the masking tool to even color grade your images, bring out details in the sky, and a whole lot more. For a moment there, I got busy playing with Shiro, and now I have dog fur all over me. I can't look like that when I'm recording, so just 1 second. 1 second. There we go. That's way better. Now, getting back on topic, let's talk about the next item on the list. Step number 2, fix the damn horizon of your image. Nothing screams amateur photos louder than a crooked image. Trust me. Here's how to fix it. Once you're in the develop panel in Lightroom, go down to the crop section right there, and you can do this in 2 ways. First, you can let it auto adjust. See how it changed the horizon of the image slightly. But also, if you don't want to do that, you can actually draw an angle from point A to point B, and it should still fix the horizon of your image. It's that simple. Also, without going any further into the video, I would absolutely appreciate it if you guys would hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. That would absolutely mean the world to me. And now that you have done that, let's move on. Step number 3, don't abuse the clarity slider. I know we have all been there and we are all guilty of doing it, but let me tell you guys that it will actually ruin your image and make it look artificial without you even realizing it. It actually adds a little extra contrast with a little bit of sharpening to the mid-tones of your image. So let me show you guys how to actually use the clarity slider for this particular image right here. So for this particular image, I'm actually going to increase the clarity slider with hairline adjustments. So moving it very slowly to the right. I think that is where right now it looks perfect, and I'm going to leave it right there. Now, if you do need to make it a little bit more sharpened and add a little bit extra texture, add the texture from the texture slider slightly, and that should make it so much better and make it look so much more professional. Now, here's the before and here's the after, and that little bit of clarity and texture that you see has increased in the picture should make all the difference between you and an amateur editor. So without dragging the clarity slider to the very extreme, you can actually make your photos look outstanding. Step number 4, make sure you're correcting the white balance of your image. Under the develop panel in Lightroom, click on the eyedropper tool right here and then click on the whitest portion of your image. it should automatically fix the white balance of your image once you do that. But if you don't like how it looks, you can always go back and then adjust the temperature and the tint as per your need. I prefer a little bit on the warmer side, so I'm going to drag it a little bit on the warmer side and then for the tint towards the green. And to me, that looks way better. If you're wondering why you actually need to change or fix the white balance of an image, it's mainly because your white objects in your image should actually appear white unless you're going for a warmer tone or for a cooler tone. And the white balance is actually measured in Kelvin. So if you're taking an image and if you are a professional, you actually need to adjust your Kelvin when you're taking the picture in the first place. But if you mess up, you can always fix the white balance using the temperature and the tint or even the eyedropper tool in Lightroom. The next and the final step that you should be following if you want your photos to look more professional is to remove unwanted objects or clutter from your image. Nope, it's still too hot. Still too hot. Okay, let me show you guys how to actually do it till my coffee actually cools down to enough so that I can actually drink it. Removing unwanted objects should be actually the first thing you do once you import your photos in Lightroom. Anyway, that's what I do. You don't exactly have to do what I do, but there are two ways to go about it. One's the healing brush and then one's the cloning, and I'll show you guys how to do both of them. Once you have imported the image and you're under the develop panel, go down to the remove section right here and you can either select the heal and the cloning. With the recent updates in Photoshop and in Lightroom, Adobe has made both these two features act very similarly. So let's start with the healing brush. And once you have that selected, you can adjust the size. And I think that's too big. Size kind of does matter here. So once you know what you want to remove from the image, all you have to do is select it and let Lightroom do its magic, and it should be perfect most of the time in 2025. But if it's not, you can always drag this little portion right here to the section of the image where you think looks better. And then once you're done, press enter. That's just about it. Now the cloning tool actually does a very similar job like the healing brush, but it's a pixel by pixel copy of one portion to another. So I usually use the cloning tool for very specific and precise purposes. Like if I need to remove this particular road line right here, all you have to do is select it and select a portion very similar to it, and once you see just about there, looks perfect, press enter and there you go. It looks exactly similar to the portion that you selected. Now the cloning tool and the healing brush actually perform very similar actions, but if you want my suggestion, I would suggest you to use the healing brush, especially when you're working with someone's face, and use the cloning tool where you don't exactly need to worry about making it look artificial. Now this portion of the video is for those people who actually stuck around till now, and I really do appreciate you guys, so I do want to give you a bonus step. Once you're in Lightroom, once you have a image selected, try using the presets, and trust me, the presets that are already in Lightroom mostly look amazing with a little bit of adjustments obviously. But once you have a preset that looks amazing on the photo, you can always make some tiny little adjustments and make it look perfect, and that actually gives that extra little oomph if you want to actually make your photos stand out and look way more professional. That's it for me today, guys. I really do hope you found this video useful, and if you did, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. It really does make a difference, and also follow me on all my other platforms like Instagram and TikTok. I'll have all the links in the description, and until next time, take care.